Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions. Thank you again for our time together. Every year when we go to the land of Israel, one of the earliest places we stop is the wedding church in Cana of Galilee. And we go there and we have a beautiful renewal of vows, and we celebrate Christ's involvement in our marriage. I want you to notice where this all started here in John chapter 2. On the third day, there was a wedding at Cana in Galilee. Now, these Jewish weddings were not like our weddings today that might take an hour or a few hours or a half a day, or if it's a really, really long wedding with lots of receptions, a whole day. In those days, a wedding was a 5 to 7 day affair. Now, I listened to a guy talk about the wedding of Cana one time, and he was a young preacher who obviously didn't study his Bible very much, because the whole theme of his sermon is, Jesus knew how to party. Well, first of all, Jesus was in the past tense and Jesus ever lived. So we don't say Jesus knew, he knows, okay? That was his first mistake, and that was the first thing that caught me. But then the second thing was he said, Jesus knows how to party. And what he was talking about is Jesus made lots of wine so everybody could get blasted drunk. But that's not really the case. In a 5 to 7 day wedding, the wine ran out. And notice Jesus made more wine in these giant jars with big open tops. And he said, now go serve that to them. The master of ceremonies, so to speak, came to the guys who were organizing the wedding and said, what's wrong with you? You serve the good wine first, and then afterwards you serve the bad wine. And you save the best wine to last. Now, brothers and sisters, good wine here and bad wine here doesn't mean the highest intoxicating wine. It means wine that hasn't spoiled yet. You see, when you make wine in Jesus' day, you could not seal it. Yes, there was a natural fermentation process, but they didn't have all kinds of mixed, high-powered hybrid yeast to put in it and lots of extra sugar to put in it to jack up the alcohol content. But there was a natural fermentation process. But because that fermentation process couldn't stop, if you had these big jars of wine and you left them out, I'm sorry, the wine's going to spoil very, very quickly. It's going to turn sour. It's going to turn to vinegar. Now, let me apply this to us for a moment. The fact that Jesus turned water into wine does not mean that Jesus got everybody blasted drunk that night. It means he turned it into fresh, new wine that had just been trampled out, so to speak, wine that had just been pressed out of the grapes. It was fresh, it was new, it was just beginning to ferment. It tasted really, really good. It was fresh and it was nice. It didn't have any harsh flavors in it from the fermentation process or anything else. So brothers and sisters, please, let's not take scriptures out of context and try to use wine today and say that that's the wine that they drank that day. Let's not look in the Bible for excuses for sin. Let's look for reasons not to sin.